G'day, I'm Mark from Self-Sufficient Me, and it's a beautiful winter's day here in subtropical Queensland. We're into our last month of winter. Yes, there's a little bit of wind blowing, but essentially it's around 16 to 18 degrees. I'm starting to get a bit of a sweat up working around in the garden this morning. It's just beautiful. Today I want to talk to you about container growing, and although I live on an acreage and have plenty of space, I still do love growing things in containers. Containers are fabulous. You can grow things in containers wherever you are. In an apartment, out on a balcony, on a doorstep in suburbia, as long as it gets about 6 hours of sunlight, you're laughing. And you can grow so much in such a small space. This container here, this pot is only about 50 centimetres wide. It's about half a metre or only less than a few feet. Yet I'm able to grow several pea plants in a pot, growing up this makeshift trellis that I've just made out of galvanised mesh, a little bit of piping, irrigation piping around the top just to make it a little bit more secure and to let the peas flop over the plant without damaging too much. And around the base I've whacked in some different varieties of loose lettuce leaf, and also even a parsley plant in the front there. Peas are great in pots because they don't need a lot of fertiliser. They create a lot of their own nitrogen. They get that from the air and they store it in the roots. And this can also be accessed by other plants that you plant around the peas. So it's a really good example of what to grow in a pot. Plus you can get a lot out of just several of these plants. You only need about 5 to 7 plants, and that'll feed enough for 4 over several months. If you're eating peas, these snap peas, maybe twice or 3 times a week, you can have a little bit on the side of a plate for about 4 people. And like I said, you can grow this anywhere. Now, one thing I really want to touch on today especially is the growing medium in something like this. Lots of people recommend growing plants in pots with a really good premium potting mix. I don't necessarily agree to that. I like to use a different type of mix, and I'll tell you what it is in a minute. The main reason I steer away from potting mix, even though really good stuff, is because it dries out way too fast, especially if your plant or your pot is in a pretty sunny environment, and especially if it's a food crop. Food plants need plenty of water and they need a good moisture holding material or medium to grow in, otherwise they won't get enough of that moisture and nutrients to be able to produce a really sufficient crop that we can eat. I would rather err on the side of a heavier soil mix in a pot than a lighter soil mix. I'd rather risk a bit of root rot than trying to grow something, trying to water it every day and trying to keep the water up to the plant while it's struggling to produce a substandard crop of fruit or whatever it is it's growing. So my mix is, I will still have drainage in the bottom, but I use a 1/3 rule. 1/3 of my pot, say in this example, will be drainage material. This could be gravel, coarse sand, normal sand, whatever. The second third, I'll just use normal garden soil. Now, not clay or anything like that, just normal crumbly garden soil. I'll put in that second third. And in the top, I will grab some beautiful, nice moist compost out of my compost pile. And it might even have worms and all that type of beautiful nutrients in it. I'll bung it all into the top of the pot. And then right at the top, I'll just mulch it in and so that retains the moisture even a little bit more. I've found this type of medium for growing especially food crops in pots much better than potting mix. Growing in pots is fun. I like it because they look great. I can pack in a lot into a small space. I can control what I grow. It won't get away from me, and I can control how I grow it with a special type of medium, and also what I add to the pot and how much I water it. My main point is try to use a good soil mix rather than potting mix when you're working with food crops in pots or growing peas in containers, for example. Otherwise, apart from that, fill your boots and have fun with whatever you want to grow in a small growing space. Container growing is for everyone, no matter where you live. Big property, small property, apartment. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget our forum, selfsufficientculture.com. We have photo competitions now. We have other competitions. We just like people to join up and have a bit of fun and a chat. Feel free to join, it is free, no matter what country you're from. My blog, if you want to have a look at some of my written work, selfsufficientme.com. Come and have a visit. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye for now.